requisitions.
I'm fine with them.
And yes. And, do we have any add-ons today?
I don't have add-ons, but I do have 2 items for consideration not on the consent agenda. The first is a resolution entering into agreement with the Warren County Engineer, Kurt E. Weber, to retain the county engineer as county drainage engineer to perform the drainage facilities duties for the Warren County Stormwater Management District.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
And yes.
And the second resolution is approving an amendment to the guaranteed maximum price agreement with Shook Construction Company for the Fosters and Bear Run Lift Stations Improvement Project.
So moved.
And yes.
And that's all I have.
Martin, anything from you?
No, I just was, on the previous one, I was just hit the mic in case Chris was here, in case you had a question for him, but
Okay.
that's it.
Great. So next we have on the agenda Bob Viney, Vice President and Project Executive of Submarine Cincinnati Memorial Association.
Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
So, I understand I'm gonna try to get through this in 15 minutes. So, I'm not gonna obviously read any of the slides, I'll just highlight them, and you all have to speed read some of the
Well,
details.
we do have access to them too, so
Okay,
thank
good.
you for that.
Good. So I wanted to have a chance to present to Warren County because although this memorial is located just across the Butler-Warren line into the VOA Metro Park, that it is really a regional asset to the community. And we are working with school districts, Lakota, Mason, and Indian Hill, so it really is a tri-county effort to pull together this STEM education program for students. That's going to be part of this memorial. That's just a quick overview of the people that have been involved with making this happen in Boulder County on the grounds of the VOA Museum. And we have quite an extensive collaboration of organizations that have helped make this happen. Brief project history, Hamilton County actually was the county that requested the donation of actual pieces from the USS Cincinnati in 2011. The vision at that time was that we would be siting it along the banks, along the river. The pieces from the Cincinnati actually arrived in 2013, and we had a quote welcome home ceremony on Joe Nuxall Way opposite the entrance to the Cincinnati ballpark. And we had Phil Castellini and his family representing the Reds were there. This was the original concept. It was always a full-size replica using the actual pieces with a design that would show the 360-foot length of the ship. This was going to be along the river somewhere in the banks with memorial plaques that would talk about the history and the STEM education aspects of a nuclear submarine operation. This is where we have wound up after relocating to the grounds of the Voice of America. This, where are we?
Can you give the 15-second overview of why did it change from the banks to Westchester?
We presented for 9 years to various aspects of Hamilton County, City of Cincinnati, city parks, Smale Park Board, tried to through the commissioners communicate with Mike Brown, who didn't want to give up 10 parking spaces for it. So there was a fact that when we started in 2011, there were about 6 places it could be. Those went to 5, to 4, to 3, to 2 as they were given to other more priority projects. And so we started looking, after 9 years, we started looking for Plan B. And we wound up here at the Voice of America. I'm trying to highlight, but doesn't.
I don't think the pointer works on the screen.
Okay.
By the way, that's not the first time that we've heard certain governments are a little less efficient than other governments.
Well, I don't know about efficient, but I would say cooperative anyway.
9 years.
So, the purpose or the motto of the site is peace is our purpose. We want people to understand that our government doesn't invest $1 billion in a machine like the USS Cincinnati to make war or to be our aggressors. We use it to preserve the peace. And so we want to remind people of that. I'm going to skip over that 3-minute video because that'll take up most of my time. The vision is we wanted to make a landmark memorial to honor the USS Cincinnati's service during the Cold War. It's a tangible symbol of our nation's investment over 50 years. We wanted to give people a sense of the size and scope. 360 feet, goalpost to goalpost at Paul Brown Stadium, 32 feet in diameter. We want to link the Cold War contributions of submarines to the Cold War contribution of the Voice of America and how important that was to keeping the Cold War cold for 50 years so that it didn't erupt into hot conflict between the U.S. and Russia over those years. And to highlight the Cincinnati contributions, not only the veterans from all branches of the service, but also the companies that actually in the greater Cincinnati area that contributed to that effort. We also want to excite youngsters with submarine-related STEM topics and the kids that aren't going to go to college that are going to be looking at skilled trades. We want them to think about maybe I can be more than just an HVAC technician or work in an auto dealership as a trade. Maybe I could build submarines. We need about 10,000 new skilled trades workers in all the areas that are necessary to build a submarine over the next 10 years. That's 100,000 skilled trade workers that we need. Right now, our country's mission is to build 2 submarines a year. We can only build 1.2. So I'm sure you've heard the administration talk about the need to enhance our shipbuilding capability, which deteriorated significantly during the peace dividend that followed the end of the Cold War. So science, technology, engineering, math, skilled trades, we want to excite kids. There's a lot of kids in Southwest Ohio that have probably not seen the ocean yet, let alone a nuclear submarine. And I think the excitement of seeing the scope of it and the science behind it, we hope is going to interest kids to pursue STEM topics in school. Our nation's ability to compete in a high-tech global environment demands that we have more kids interested in STEM topics. We have a built-in audience at the Voice of America. There's athletic fields. I'm sure you all know about the athletic fields that are around there. There's 88,000 kids and families every year playing on those fields. It's right across the pond from where this full-size replica of a submarine is going to be. And you know how tournaments work, right? You have a 9 o'clock game and then you have a 1 o'clock game.
Sadly, I've spent lots of hours there.
What are you going to
Very familiar.
What are you going to do with the kids in the meantime? So we're also going to reach students in schools, scouts. There's 7 local high school Navy junior ROTC programs. There's Sea Cadets programs here. We gave this presentation to a nonprofit called Adopt a Class. I don't know if you're aware of them, but they raise money to send kids from underdeveloped communities. There's 17 of them that they target in the greater Cincinnati area, including a couple in Warren County, to take them on field trips and expose them to aspects of a career that they're never going to see in their community. And they told us after our presentation, they want to bring 500 fifth graders from those 17 schools during the 26-27 school year. So we're increasing our reach as we get closer and closer to the grand opening. It's a community venue for recreation and patriotic events. There's not a memorial down on the river that 10,000 Cincinnati residents could go on Memorial Day or Veterans Day or the 4th of July. Most of the veteran memorials are in each little burg around greater Cincinnati area. And Warren County has one that's very nice, so does Mason, where I live. But it's hardly a place where a large number of the community could gather. There's plenty of land around the VOA Museum. They've held the country music concert there and had 80,000 people at those events. The other thing is, it's a unique attraction of patriotic, historic, and educational significance. There's nothing that in the country that combines the history of the Cold War the way the Voice of America National Broadcast Museum does with a full-size replica of a nuclear submarine. It's a place where, on patriotic holidays, place for concerts, festivals, fireworks, veteran reunions. We've already had several veteran groups contact us about holding events there and after we open. Last but not least, it's a very positive impact on the local community. We had an economic impact study performed by the Butler County Treasurer and reviewed by the auditor, and that analysis indicated a positive economic impact benefit of between $6.9 million and $27.6 million a year to the greater Cincinnati area. Those are just different views. On the left here, the building is the STEM Education Center, where we're going to conduct hands-on STEM activities with kids. And then you can just see the vision, the wharf, the pier, the full-size replica, the education center. Those are the three major physical elements of the site. So we have the actual Connie Tower, Fairwater Plains, the upper rudder, and the Big Red Machine. On a nuclear submarine, you have a backup power supply in case the nuclear power plant goes down at sea. It's a diesel generator, 850 kilowatts, so it's a big Fairbanks Morse diesel attached to a generator. This submarine was built in 75-76 when the Reds were winning back-to-back World Series. And of course, you all remember the nickname of the team, the Big Red Machine, right? So instead of painting it navy gray, the shipyard painted it bright red. And it was called the Big Red Machine the whole time the ship was in commission. So we have that, and we have the Reds interested in lots of interesting cross-promotional opportunities. We have an overlook deck with a wharf and pier for speakers and performers. We're going to put a solar panel array atop the replica, which will power the memorial and mean that we don't really have to fund electrical bills while we're operating the memorial. We can also teach the kids about solar as well as nuclear power. We have control room panels that have been requested. The SCP is the ship control panel where the operators control the rudder and the planes for depth control. The BCP is ballast control panel where the chief of the watch moves water around the various tanks to maintain stability and buoyancy. We have a periscope coming. We're building a little control room under the sail, which will house these elements and give the kids an opportunity to sit in a chair at the ship control panel, look through a periscope, things like that. So the education center, as I said, hands-on activities. There's also 2 restrooms in the back. We're going to have interactive video kiosks, 4 of them around the site, which will give the kids a chance to engage with an AI-generated avatar who will engage them in a conversation and answer their questions about how's the submarine operate. We're gonna have museum quality displays in each compartment, so as people walk through the exhibit, they will know what compartment they're in. Now you're in the engine room, now you're in the reactor compartment. You'll know what operations took place here, what was the major equipment, science behind how it operated, who stood watch here, what were their tasks, and so forth. So it'll be like a virtual guided tour of a nuclear submarine, which you cannot do anywhere else in the country. So that's a picture of the ship control panel on the left, and that's the actual big red machine in the engine room of the Cincinnati when it was still in commission. So we're teaching the history of the Cold War and the link to the Voice of America. We'll teach the importance of STEM subjects related to submarine operations. Submarines are full of science, engineering, technology, and math. And the STEM education program will provide a physically engaging and interactive educational experience. Those are some of the questions kids might have about the Cold War. Why is it important? What was it about? Was it a real war? How long did it last? How did the U.S. prevail? What role did this greater Cincinnati area play in helping us win that? The fixed displays are in concept already. They will have the information that I mentioned on 3 separate panels. When we get the money to build the software, the AI software, we will have QR codes on each display, so the kids will be able to point their phones at the QR code and get it visually, because kids aren't probably going to spend a lot of time reading a fixed display. So the history of the Cold War will be at the entrance, one display. The overview of how submarines are built will be on a second display. Those you'll pass as you get into the submarine. And then in any of every one of the compartments, from the engine room to maneuvering, which is where the reactor is controlled, to the reactor compartment, the auxiliary machinery space where we have the big red machine, atmosphere control, and the TDU is the trash disposal unit. You're probably not surprised that one of the 2 questions that the kids have told us they're interested in is, how do you go to the bathroom? And how do you get rid of trash? Right? They're very practical, right? They want to know those things. And then you get into the operations compartment, where all the living and eating, the ship control, the navigation, the sonar, the radio, radar, fire control, everything is in that compartment. That's a mock-up of what the displays would look like. The design company said you could do them straight across, or you could put them in a triangle, so people could actually see it on 3 different sides. We haven't made that decision yet. The interactive kiosks will have grade-specific STEM questions and answers. This is where the school systems are helping us. I know how to answer almost every question that a kid could ask, but a 4th grader would probably not understand much of it. And even a 12th grader probably wouldn't understand all of it. So how do we take the technical information that we know and translate it into grade relevant information? We go to the experts who teach 4th grade, 8th grade, and 12th grade kids. And the school districts that we've approached, Lakota, Mason, Indian Hill, have all been very positive about helping with that, and the fact that they see this as an asset to what they're teaching in school. Because it's one thing to hear about science and technology from a book and in a classroom, but if you can go to where something is actually physically using it and interact with it, you know, it just means a whole lot more. So how does a submarine go up and down? How do the sailors breathe air underwater? Where does that come from? How does a nuclear power plant work? Things like that. That's a picture of the kiosks that will be there. They're made to be outdoor, so they're kind of like the kiosks at a, you know, at a drive-through food thing. They're made to survive winters, rain, snow, all of that. But we'll probably cover them in the winter, the worst months of the weather. So we have a team of subject matter experts that are developing the technical content and a team of local educators to help us make that grade relevant. In the Education Center, we're gonna build a water trough, which will be a place where we can do buoyancy exercises and do demonstrations of water pressure and air pressure interactions at different depths. We're building there's a program called Sea Perch, where the kids actually assemble a remote-controlled submersible. It looks like more of a robotic than it looks like a submarine, but they can put it in the tank and then they can navigate it up in depth, make it go down and up and across. We also are getting a tabletop electrolyzer. The electrolyzer is what makes hydrogen and oxygen from water. And that's how we breathe. We take seawater in, we purify it to pure water, we put it in an electrolyzer, it makes hydrogen and oxygen. We store the oxygen and breathe it, we send the hydrogen overboard. But 20 years from now, kids may be using an electrolyzer, same process, same science, same technology, to make hydrogen and oxygen, let the oxygen go in the atmosphere and use the hydrogen for fuel. So it's actually not just teaching them about a submarine operations, it's kind of preparing them for what could be a future career for many people. We have a fuel cell car model that has little tubes in the back of it. You put water in there, it has a solar cell, you shine a light on it, it makes hydrogen and oxygen. You unplug the solar cell, you plug in a little fuel cell, and the car drives. So it gives the kids the opportunity to actually see, we can drive a car from water and sunlight. Navigational exercises. We're going to have a navigational table and charts where we'll use a lot of math and geometry to teach kids the skills of how does a submarine get from point A to point B in terms of navigating. Obviously, a nuclear plant gives us a lot of opportunity for math calculations for 12th graders, turbine generator operations, and many others that are on the drawing board. That we've already looked at. That's a picture of the STEM Education Center as it is today. We're going to be going through a punch list and turning it over. That's going to be turned over to us to begin to prepare for the grand opening. Our construction schedule is target completion in May of 2026. So Memorial Day in May, we'll have a grand opening that weekend, 15th, 16th, and 17th. I've talked to the Southwest Ohio Philharmonic. They're excited about possibly being the music for our grand opening, patriotic songs, marches, and things like that. They've talked to Carmen de Leon. He's interested in being the conductor. And they have given us a very generous discount in what it would cost to put on. Memorial Day obviously would be soon after that. 250th birthday of the country, July 4th. The 251st birthday of the Navy in October. Veterans Day in November. And the 127th birthday of the Submarine Force in April, but we probably won't be open. It'll probably be April of 2027 before we could celebrate that. That's the progress at the site today. On the left is the wharf. Then you can see the memorial with the Voice of America Museum in the background. The middle picture at the bottom is the wharf and pier, where the pier is being constructed. So we're still raising funds. We have enough money to build all the elements. We have one very generous donor gave us a single contribution that was about 80% of what we needed to build the three physical elements. And he wants to be anonymous. So that enabled us to do groundbreaking and actually build the construct. The balance is really finishing touches. We want to put a lot of benches around. We have signage that we want to do, landscaping, plants, and so forth. The endowment fund is to fund all the upkeep and maintenance in the future. there have been no taxpayer funds from any region used to design, build, or provide upkeep and maintenance in the future. But if we can reach our endowment goal, that will fund all the projected expenses going forward. The educational program, the software, the kiosks and all that is about $700,000. It's actually about $800,000. We have about $100,000 already donated for that. So we need to raise about another $2 million to fully complete the park. And we're in our outreach to individuals, we're saying, hey, you can donate now before December 30th, but guess what? You can get a tax deduction again in January 1st. So that's the grand opening. And I'd love to hear any questions.
Great. Thank you for being here today. Dave, you have any questions?
No, I've been following what you've been doing. I'm a big fan, active duty, daughter in the Navy right now.
Oh,
Was deployed in the Red Sea last summer on a guided missile destroyer or cruiser, and so very interested in this. I think it's great. Have you guys solicited General Dynamics or Huntington Ingalls?
we have, I have a classmate from the Naval Academy who went to Harvard Business School with the current chairman emeritus of Huntington. And he has connected us with Electric Boat, and we're waiting for their decision.
I would think that's a natural. I mean, you're basically trying to get them employees.
Yeah.
And so I would think that they would help fund you, and that you know, a couple $1 million here or there's an accounting error to them, so.
I agree. We have our fingers and toes crossed. We also have a request into the Cincinnati Reds to pay for the refurbishment of the Big Red Machine, which is $100,000. The Reds so far have not said they would do that. So I reached out to the entire group of Reds minority owners. There's about 20. And I worked at P&G for 15 years, and several of the people I worked with are owners, are minority owners. So we're trying to say, hey guys, split it up. You know, 10,000 from each of you, get this done, and then we have a great tie-in. So we're working those levers as hard as we can, believe me.
Well, good luck, and we'll be following the progress.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much for the presentation.
You bet.
Appreciate it. Okay, anything else before I take a motion to adjourn?
Not for this meeting, no.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And yes. And that moves us to our next meeting here, where we have our county engineer, Kurt Weber.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. Yes, that's it. So yeah, this is Willow Pond Boulevard at the bottom of your screen there. And the existing right-of-way, you can see is 30 feet.
Kurt, can you speak up, please? I
Oh,
can't
yes.
hear you.
I'm sorry, I
Thank you.
apologize. Yeah, this is Willow Pond Boulevard down in Hamilton Township at the bottom of your screen. And it points out the existing right-of-way is 30 feet, and, which is basically 6 inches behind the back of curb. And the proposed right-of-way dedication, which our office is good with, is an additional 10 feet of right-of-way dedication, so 25 feet on that side. And should point out that the thoroughfare plan, back in the day, it was just, there was local roads / streets, as well as collectors and arterials. And the local road covered both subdivision streets and like a street like, you know, Stevens Road or Nunner Road, which is in Hamilton Township. Those Nunner Road, you know, it's a street that has ditches, you know, whereas a local subdivision street has curb and gutter, and this has curb and gutter. So now, I forget how many years ago it was, we updated the thoroughfare plan with the help of Regional Planning Commission, and now it designates local subdivision streets, and then also local streets. Local subdivision streets, it shows a curb and gutter section. The local street, like a Nunner Road, just shows a ditch, which is greater than 25 feet of right-of-way on a side. I believe it's 30 feet or 35 feet? 35 feet, thank you. So, on our thoroughfare plan, it classifies Willow Pond Boulevard as a local, street. So it would be, based on the thoroughfare plan, because it's a ditch section, 35 feet on that side. However, this street is curb and gutter, and the local subdivision, we don't have a curb and gutter section for the local street, but we do have a curb and gutter typical section for the local subdivision street, which is 25 feet, and that's what we're proposing to use. So in some ways, this deviation is more of a semantics than anything.
Isn't Willow Pond mainly built out already?
No, sir. In fact, that's a good, right there in the green is
You
the.
can go to the screen if you want to, there's a microphone.
Oh, good, that's right, thank you. Yeah, this area right here, Dave, is the proposed development. There's also, right now, there's existing houses over here. That's the only, and here's State Route 48. So Willow Pond Boulevard, existing houses, and then proposed development here. There's also talk of development here, which isn't developed yet.
Okay, on the west side,
Yeah.
the left side of
North side,
22 and
west side.
3, that's where all the
Yeah.
houses are, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. And there's, even on the west side of 22 and 3, there's an area there that fronts that's not, but you're right, everything else is.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, so we're, you know, it's, because it's a curb and gutter street section, our office is fine with the additional 10 feet to go from 15 feet on the side to the 25 feet on the side. So proposed 10-foot right-of-way dedication. But I think the point is, from the thoroughfare plan, the way we differentiate between the two, right now, it shows it as a local street, and that's a holdover because we didn't used to differentiate between subdivisions and the streets that aren't in subdivisions. So, based on the semantics, this would say an additional, 20 feet as opposed to 10 feet. But because it's curb and gutter, there's no need to do an additional 20 feet. Additional 10 feet is sufficient. And I think, and then I think it's, obviously, the planning commission can chime in, and the developer may want to do that too. I think there was some talk about, whether to do a resolution or whether it's just part of when the plat signed. And, I'm not sure if the developer needs direction.
So are you okay with this? I mean,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
so they're trying to get, the developer wants it larger or smaller?
The
Easement.
developer's good with the additional 10 feet of right-of-way, and we're fine with that too, because it's curb and gutter. If it was a ditch section, we would say, we want what's shown on the thoroughfare plan, an additional 20 feet. But in this case, we want, we're good with the additional 10.
So it benefits the developer because it's not the additional, so we're cutting 10 feet off of it, but you're saying by nature that there's no ditch there, so it's not a big deal.
Yes, that's right, correct. And
But what about other utilities? I mean, sometimes it's not just the street then with an easement that we're putting water or sewer lines or whatever goes into an easement.
Right, there'll be a public utility easement, correct, correct me if I'm wrong, yeah, that's on even further out than the right-of-way line. So a 15-foot generally public utility easement where the utilities can go.
So from your perspective, it doesn't matter, but that's not giving up our right to a utility easement.
Correct. case by case through our office, and I think there's interest now, maybe bringing it up, you know, as, some type of deviation process, I think, which we'll discuss on a subsequent agenda item here. I don't know if the developer has, or the,
I mean, that's fine. I mean, if you're okay with it, it's fine.
Everybody's in agreement?
Yeah.
Okay, so do we have to take an action today?
You don't have to take an action
I mean, but
today.
we have to take an action in order to deviate from this.
The only, yeah, and really the word is departure, and the only thing you have to do is unanimously approve the plat when it comes forward.
I see.
But the developer was concerned about, well, if we wait to that stage, and if you didn't unanimously approve it, what then? They gotta go back and expend more funds and redesign it. So they just wanted in advance to know whether you would agree to the departure. So if we have a resolution, there's no harm in approving one, but I don't think we have one. It's just a matter of when the final plat comes forward that shows this.
Well, I mean, we can't speak for our colleague
But we
to
could speak
ensure-
for each other right now.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering, can we quickly get a resolution together on this so that it's, I don't know where Commissioner Grossman would be, and so what I don't want to leave the developer with the impression that we're gonna unanimously support it without knowing from him, and so if it's, they're here in order to mitigate risk.
Why
I'm
can't I
not
just
sure.
make a motion to do exactly this?
Okay, I'll second that.
So I'll make a motion to instruct the county engineer to consider, or to approve a departure from the original thoroughfare plan relative to Willow Pond Boulevard in Hamilton Township.
And I'll second that. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes?
Mr. Young?
Yes. That way it's done, and you guys don't have to worry about it, so.
that's good, that way you can stay on schedule.
Yep,
Thank you very much.
great, thank you. Okay, so that means our next work session is with the Regional Planning Commission to discuss proposed text amendments to the Warren County Thoroughfare Plan.
So this just from the staff, this is just sort of a piggyback based off of that discussion, is I think we sort of as staff requested that the RPC and the engineer come in front of you because it was a departure and you have that authority. But because this is one of those scenarios where the engineer's office had an opinion on that, it's trying to make sure that you have the decision if you want those brought to you all the time, or does it give RPC some discretion to use the engineer's guidance? So just trying to address that.
Very good. Good morning. I'm Ryan Cook with Warren County Regional Planning. So yeah, as Martin mentioned, just wanted to have a work session with you guys for a few considerations here. One, to update the local street typical section to include a curb and gutter, so we don't have to go through the things that we just did. Also, add some language to the thoroughfare plan to recognize the right-of-way of recent engineer's office and ODOT projects, and then accept that as the engineer's office. If they were to accept that, then that would be the thoroughfare that we would essentially regulate it under. So, so going on to the first portion here for the local street, as you guys have previously seen, so with the typical section for a local street, we have one, as Kurt mentioned, for rural, which is the ditch section. There is no typical section for urban. So our recommendation with that would just be to basically update the title to include the local street and local subdivision street within the residential curb and gutter cross section. That would essentially leave to have the 50-foot right of way with the 10-foot public utility easement with that. Also wanted to just bring up a list of potential deviations that we have in the works, since we review all these subdivisions within the unincorporated county. So we just wanted to, this was just a potential list of items. So you guys just heard the Northview Farms, the Willow Pond Boulevard. So what we were proposing was to potentially add some language. Essentially what this is saying is if the ODOT or even the engineer's office had some type of transportation improvement plan, or if they acquired right-of-way we would leave it up to the engineer's office discretion on whether or not we would actually go to the thoroughfare plan, or if we would go to whatever was acquired there, and then that way they don't have to, I guess, more or less keep coming back to you for approvals, but more or less leave that up to Kurt to decide those items. So, so with that, we just wanted to get your thoughts on all that, and then potentially look at the process in order to do so. It would be, you know, it would start with the engineer's office, it would go to our full board, and then we'd actually bring that back to you guys to approve it as part of the thoroughfare plan. Definitely can answer any questions, and Kurt's here also if he would like to add anything.
Dave, do you have any questions?
I mean, I guess we have discretion in certain areas. A lot of times, Bruce, I don't like the word discretion. I mean, it's good, but it's bad in some ways of, oh, this guy gets something, this guy doesn't. Based on, do I like this person, do I not like that person? You know, are there criteria, or am I overthinking that?
Yeah, you're overthinking it, I think. First of all, the rub here is that when we have this plan, a thoroughfare plan, which really is not specific in a lot of ways to specific sites, and sometimes it is, then the planning commission is stuck with the thoroughfare plan. And then you have the county engineer saying, well, that's not the way it worked, and the one on Wilkins Boulevard that's coming up, that's exactly would be coming before you yet again, because what has been built in other sections down Wilkins Boulevard has a different thoroughfare area than what the thoroughfare plan shows that it should be. And so this would allow the county engineer, based on factors like that, what's already there versus, you know, the plan showing something different, or if there's some approved plan by ODOT or the engineer's office other than the thoroughfare plan, then that is the factor to look at to see what the right-of-way should be.
So for some sort of consistency where there's maybe not a conflict, but they're not harmonized with one another.
So it's not like an applicant, meaning a developer, wants some concession for their development, which I think is what Commissioner Young is talking about. It's more of what's planned for everything, or what has already been done to be consistent with it. Because it makes no sense for this development to have a wider right-of-way because the thoroughfare plan says so, and everything else, like on Wilkins Boulevard, is more narrow. And when our county engineer is making a recommendation that it should be consistent.
Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
sounds like some common sense language.
Okay, yeah,
I'm fine with that too.
very good. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, we're gonna have a work session, but before we go into our work session on the tax budget, I'll just ask if there's anybody here that wishes to address the board. Seeing none, then I recommend we head back into the conference room for our tax budget session. Thank you. Thanks, Kurt.